Hello everybody, my name is RetroBoy03, and welcome to my review of the LEGO Star Wars Rebels Vader's TIE Advanced vs. A-Wing Starfighter. This set comes with 702 pieces, 4 minifigures, and retails for around $90 in the United States, and it released in summer of 2016. So, without further ado, let's start by taking a look at the minifigures. So the first figure in this set is this rather bland A-Wing pilot. And that's not to say it's a bad minifigure, I just think it looks rather uninteresting. I mean, the torso printing is nice, it's just very simple, and the sand blue and 2 shades of gray really don't... It's just not an interesting color combination. Like, the orange X-Wing pilot suits, those catch your eye. The green A-Wing pilot suits, those catch your eye. Sand blue is not a color that catches the eye. So, I mean, and I understand that this pilot, I don't watch Rebels, but I can probably guarantee that this character, who probably has a name, but I don't know it, anyway, probably wears a sand blue jumpsuit, so LEGO couldn't really help it, but it just doesn't make this minifigure look very interesting. The base color, it doesn't pop, and, just what you see here, it's not very interesting. The print is kind of boring as well, but, back print is just as, She comes with a blaster pistol, which is nice. The face is not exclusive. I mean, I would have liked if maybe she had a visor, but, I mean, it's too much for LEGO to print Star Wars minifigures to have visors, you know. I mean, they just give every single pilot the same DAC head, and if there's something preventing them from giving everyone a DAC head, they just don't give them a visor. Because LEGO felt like being lazy the past few years. So, yeah, I mean, this is just the same face. The Tauren Far face, the Resistance soldier face from the troop transport, I think this face actually first came out for Clara in the Doctor Who set. It's just a pretty common piece. Pretty nice expression, though. I do actually like the face. It's just... Again, it's just kind of bland. It's a nice face print, but there's not much going on with it. You have the alternate face, which I guess is a bit confused. That's fine. But then the helmet is by far the best part of this minifigure. I mean, it's still one of the blandest helmets I've ever seen on a LEGO Rebel pilot, but it's still nice. I mean, up on top you have a lot of metallic gold, so that's pretty cool. You also have some tan, both on the front and the back. You have some nice prints on the sides. Like the colors, very bright. Really, what this figure needed more of was some bright colors, but hey, at least the helmet's pretty nice. So that's the A-Wing pilot. So now let's move on to the first of 2 homeless minifigures in this set. Homeless, of course, because this set is just 2 one-person crafts. So therefore, 2 of the 4 minifigures are just gonna stand on your shelf, I guess. So yeah, here we have Sabine Wren. This figure is not exclusive, as it also came in the 2016 LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar, but, I think it was 2016, might have been 2017. And the way she came in an Advent Calendar, so she's not the rarest minifigure ever, but I still think she looks cool. She's definitely more interesting than the A-Wing pilot. Now, if only I didn't hate Sabine as a character. But, I mean, despite that, this is still a nice minifigure, even if I really don't like the character of Sabine. I've only seen a few episodes of Rebels, and she grates on me so bad. But, I mean, the hairpiece is nice. It's molded in the bright green with the 2 different colors of blue printed on top, which looks really nice. I just think that looks cool. The division between the colors, and just, the 3-colored hairpiece in general. This isn't something you really see from LEGO, so it's cool to get, and I could see people using this for custom minifigures. Now, if only it actually looked like hair as opposed to a potted plant, then we would be in business. Also, I'm not a fan of how much of her forehead it shows off. By God. I mean, and again, this isn't LEGO's fault, it's just that Sabine has an absolutely atrocious design in Rebels. I mean, this minifigure, the hair's a problem, but, I mean, this looks so much better than Sabine actually does. I mean, the face print here, on the this is really inaccurate because Sabine's eyes are actually a bit smaller than the average minifigure's eyes, when in Rebels, Sabine's eyes take up 95% of her face. So yeah, this is actually a pretty nice face print, though. I honestly wish LEGO would use it on more minifigures. I like it more than the Tor and Far head that we see on the A-Wing pilot. But yeah, I mean, here you can see this is actually the aggressive expression. And if I turn that around, we also have this, I guess, sort of smiling expression. It's fine. It's just kind of there. The coolest thing about this minifigure, in my opinion, my favorite part, is these guns. These are pistols that I think originated around, like, 2006 or so, probably way earlier than that, but I know they disappeared for the most part around 2008 with the end of the original LEGO Batman line. So, I mean, it's really great to see these again. But just putting those down as one of them flies off, because of course it does. You can see that the torso print and leg print on Sabine isn't that interesting in my opinion. Like, it's fine, it's just kind of there. I mean, like, the spray painting on the torso looks really not realistic at all. Like, it looks like Sabine painted it to look all weathered, and who knows, maybe she did, haven't seen the show, but it looks less like it's supposed to be like this, and more like it was weathered to look like this, but the weathering is just so off. Also, I don't know what LEGO was thinking with these two shine lines. That looks atrocious. But yeah, I mean, the back print's alright, though. I like the light gray to create a bit of a shine that looks a lot better than what we saw on the front. Like, I think that's cool. Fine. I really absolutely despise the look of the two shine lines. The weathering looks unrealistic. So yeah, not a big fan of Sabine either. Let's just hope the figures go up from here. Well, what do you know? The figures do go up from here. Here we have Darth Vader, Lord of the Sith. And hey, he's exclusive, so that's pretty neat for the torso print, but I mean, let's just start with the torso and leg print, since that's easiest to talk about. Well, I mean, I guess we'll start off with his red lightsaber. You've all seen this piece. LEGO's been using the same lightsaber, like the blade, since 1999. The hilt has changed a few times. They've been using this one for nearly a decade, though. You know what a lightsaber looks like. So yeah, the legs on this figure are identical to the ones that appeared in 2015 for the Death Star Final Duel. Well, wait, no, actually, no. They actually appeared in 2014 with the Imperial Star Destroyer. Sorry. They look fine. The lining on them is a bit chunky, but that's alright. But the torso is what's exclusive about this figure. I don't currently have the 2015 version on hand to compare, but basically, you see the little robes printed. You see how the robes are printed in front of Vader's little armored neck piece? On the 2015 version, the robes were behind that. That's pretty much it. I mean, like, a couple colors on the chest panel were a bit different, as well as on the belt, but really the main difference is just that the robes go over top of the neck armor, while on the 2015 version they don't. I kind of prefer this version, although I'm still not a fan of how chunky the lines are. But yeah, cool thing about this Vader figure, it's the first minifigure of a suited-up Darth Vader to get back printing. Wow, look at all that intense detail. I mean, LEGO didn't need to bother, since who wants to have Vader without a cape? But I mean, it's still a nice thing to include. But now is my first time getting to talk about the new and improved Darth Vader helmet. Look, can I really call it new and improved? We've been seeing it since, like, 2015. I mean, and I never talked about the old Vader helmet either. So anyway, new and improved Vader helmet. In my opinion, it doesn't look that great. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you look at it and it looks like Vader's helmet, but there are two problems. First off, he's naturally looking up. I mean, look at that. My figure's leaning back a little, but even if I get him to stand up perfectly, you can see... No, that's a bit leaning forward. Yeah, you can see that he's definitely looking up quite a bit. Also, his helmet's too dang big. I mean, this thing is huge. I mean, like, for comparison, here's the original LEGO Vader helmet, which I will admit isn't as well proportioned, but it just looks better. I mean, like, it's the correct size. This is the size a Vader helmet should be. And this is what we have. The new one's like twice the size. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's so big, but the reason LEGO did a new one in the first place was because if we pull off this horribly oversized helmet, we have a pretty okay face print for an unmasked Darth Vader. Let's start with the eyes. And the eyebrows, which, thank God, unlike George Lucas, LEGO decided that the eyebrows didn't detract from the story of Star Wars, so they were kept. I think that just, like, the eyes look pretty nice, the shadowing on them is nice, the tan is nice, the eyebrows are nice, but then you have the mouth. And I have to ask, why is Darth Vader smiling? I mean, I guess that the idea was that this is for Return of the Jedi when he's getting redeemed. But first off, two things. Number one, in that scene, Vader wasn't smiling. He was being redeemed, but he wasn't smiling. Second off, this isn't Return of the Jedi. This is Star Wars Rebels. So not only is this inaccurate because Vader shouldn't be smiling, but it's also inaccurate because Vader didn't even look like this in Rebels. In Rebels, he still had some really burnt orange skin for Mustafar. Which really doesn't make sense when you consider that Rebels takes place, like 15, 16 years after Revenge of the Sith, and, 5 years before the Battle of Endor, probably off there, 6 or 7 years. Still, it doesn't really work, but, I mean, if you've seen the Darth Vader head that comes in the Darth Vader transformation set, I honestly feel as though that head would be a better fit here. It's still not great, but that would have been more accurate. What LEGO really should have done is printed a new head to give us Vader with, the burnt skin and the yellow eyes. But honestly, this is still fine, and there's the back head print. Pretty nice. Although, personally, much like the helmet, even though this one could be said is objectively better, I gotta say, I prefer the 2011 Vader head, or 2010, whenever this version come out. The updated version of the original, where he has the pupils, but, I really like this version. It's gray, which I think is more accurate than white. I think the expression is absolutely perfect. I think the scars look better here, there aren't any on the back of the head yet, but personally, I really like this gray head, and I wish that LEGO had continued with this design instead of completely trashing it for this new one. But yeah. So that's this set's version of Darth Vader, the Dark Lord of the Sith. He's pretty alright. I like the torso, although personally I'm going to be switching out the head and helmet for the older version, but this is still a fine figure nonetheless. Yeah, that's Vader. Here we have the fourth and final minifigure in this set, Grand Moff Tarkin, who I think is pretty alright. No leg printing, and his accessory is just another standard blaster pistol, but I feel as though his torso print is pretty good looking. I'm not a huge fan of how in Rebels Tarkin wears tan as opposed to gray, but I mean, this is still a fine print. It looks good, it's just not Tarkin. But personally, I feel as though the lines here are also definitely a bit thicker than they could be, and this isn't a very detailed torso, but it's fine. I like the code badge, at least. Code, whatever you call that, the badge thing with the stripes. The back print is also horribly simple, and the hair is just the Doctor Who hairpiece, but in dark gray, which I believe is exclusive to this set, but the good part of this figure comes with the face, because that is such a good likeness to Peter Cushing, who, of course, portrayed Tarkin in A New Hope. It's not perfect. Vader was clearly going a bit more for the animated Tarkin here than the original, but this still looks pretty good for Peter Cushing, and I think it's spot on to how he appeared in Rogue One, which wasn't that great looking, but still, I don't know, I think this perfectly captures the character of Tarkin, even if it's not the most spot-on of likenesses. I like the expression. It's good. The back face is actually pretty similar, but as you can see here, he looks a bit confused, maybe a bit questioning. I like this face as well. I don't like it as much as the main face, but it's still interesting. It's a cool one. But what's really cool about this minifigure, well, not really about the minifigure itself, because really, like, again, not a huge fan of this figure either. Really just the face, and the hairpiece is fine, although it doesn't look accurate. But what you could do is, if you have a normal Imperial officer torso, like I'm lucky I have Tarkin from the Death Star. But anyway, if you have a normal Imperial torso, and you have the Doctor Who hairpiece, then you can knock up a nice Episode 4 Tarkin. With the lighter hair and the Imperial torso. I mean, obviously, I'm using the one from the Death Star, which isn't very detailed, since that set's from 2008, and the figure's actually from 2006. But still, it's nice to have. This is how I will be displaying my Tarkin. But, I mean, even without that detail, I'm pretty much replacing everything except the face. This is still a fine figure of Tarkin, definitely. Nice likeness, fine torso print, hairpiece is good to have. So yeah, overall I'm not the biggest fan of the figures in this set, but now let's move on to the builds, which hopefully will have a bit more to them. Of the two ships included in this set, the first is this A-Wing, which I believe is like a prototype of the Episode 6 A-Wing, because this one does have some differences that I'm not the biggest fan of, but hey, LEGO did it to be accurate to Rebels, so yeah. Starting off, you can see the cockpit just opens face forward. Inside you have a control panel, and you do have room to fit, of course, your pilot in there, with her blaster, which is nice. Just drop the pilot on the floor, but yeah. You just have a 2x2 available space, and you can close up the cockpit. You might find it odd how far away the control panel is from her. Like, there's a 1x2 space right in front of her. Why not put it there? But there is a reason for that, with a play feature I'll get to in a minute. You have the engine pods on the sides. You have some nice stickers on those flags. And I feel so from the back, the A-Wing's engines look pretty great. However, you can fold the engines up like this, which looks so horrid and unnatural. Kill it with fire. But it's accurate to Rebels, so I guess so. The guns can also angle up and down and all around, which looks bad. It's so unnatural, but I mean, that is a nice build at least. It does look nice. From the underside, you can see that there's a rubber band, which does tie into a play feature, but another thing here is that you just have the landing gear, which can just be folded down, which I think is pretty nice. Like, you still have a bit of one foot hanging down, but it's still fine. Personally, I would just keep the landing gear on, as, like, you really, like, I mean, if you're going to play with this, sure, retract them, but, like, if you're going to be displaying this, you really can't display it without the landing gear. It's not like most other Star Wars ships, like, these wings are flimsy, so if they don't have anything to hold them up, they'll pretty much just collapse on themselves, but, I mean, yeah. You have some nice stickers on the top. Also on the front, you have 4 nice ones, but so you're probably wondering how this thing shoots, since you don't see any projectiles. Well, maybe showing it from the front. Like, normally you can't see it, like, just looking at this thing from the side or the top, but, I mean, looking at it straight on, you see a couple of spring shooters, but there's no activators here, nothing up here, none of this shoots them, so how do those work? First of all, I really like how they're hidden, but the play feature here, while entirely inaccurate to everything, is probably one of the coolest LEGO play features I've ever seen. Because to fire those shooters, as I smack my tripod, you grab a wing with one hand, right? I don't know what you call it, not really a wing, but like, you grab the side, like here with one hand, you grab the back with the other hand, you pull back. You can see that the front of the vehicle can just pull back. So pull, shoots off one shooter, keep pulling, shoots off the other. And that's because of a little mechanism in there that hits where the actuator for one shooter is one plate off of the other. And when I say that, I don't mean like a stud, I mean like a plate thick. Like, let me just bring in a piece to show you. It's like this much off, the ridge. You know what I mean? Like the height of a plate. It's the height of a plate off is what I'm trying to say. So that's a pretty cool feature, how they fire at different times. Obviously, if you wanted them to fire at the same time, you could modify it. And if you don't want it to fire at all, just pull the pieces out and boom, problem solved. There's no longer any shooters in there. And obviously, if you pull on it super quickly, they'll fire out pretty much simultaneously. And something interesting is that if you wanted to, you could actually just display it like this with the little gap in the front, which actually looks kind of interesting. Like it could be some sort of alternative mode for the A-Wing, like maybe some sort of previous design. Something to sort of help to further differentiate it from the original trilogy design. I mean, I'm personally not going to display it with the gap in the front, but it's an idea at least. But yeah, just putting that back to normal, that's really all I have to say for the A-Wing Starfighter included in this set. It has a nice play feature, a couple of things that can be adjusted, which is nice. So, yeah, pretty good vehicle. I just don't think it's worth $45, which would really have to be half of a $90 set. I mean, I guess really maybe $40 since the Return of the Jedi A-Wing that came out a few months after this one was $40. This one and that one, neither are $40. I think that this craft is like a $30 set. And I mean, just it's worth $30. And I mean, seeing the size of it and the piece count, yeah, 300 pieces approximately, $30 is what it should have been. So yeah, now let's see if the TIE Advanced is a $60 vehicle or if I got ripped off. Hint, it's probably the latter. But anyway, yeah, let's take a look at that vehicle, because despite the fact that the set is overpriced, it's still pretty nice. So here we have the part of the set that I think is definitely the highlight. Here we have Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. Specifically based off of its appearance in Star Wars Rebels, although of course this craft is more well-known for its appearance during the trench run at the end of the original Star Wars. So yeah, it's pretty cool. As you can see, the front cockpit does have a nice rounded shape to it, using a lot of slopes. Although, of course, turning that around to the back, you'd have the more sort of wedgy, like, the semicircle design at the back with this also little protrusion here. And I like that this is indented because this forms a nice handle. You can also see that back here you have a bunch of nice stickers, like here you have some pill lights, you have these sort of exhausts on each side, I'm guessing, and then you also have this one back here. Nice stickers. And the handle is good because it provides a nice place to activate the play feature. Because you can see these two little black Technic bits that stick out. Basically, if you push down on those, it'll fire one of the spring-loaded shooters you see coming out of the front. So, push down, fires, push down, fires out the other, and these bolts are something I'm not a huge fan of, because of course they're red, and if you've ever seen a TIE Fighter, then you'd know that TIE Fighters fire green bolts. Now, of course, the reason they're red instead of green, it's not LEGO being inaccurate. It's because LEGO has the shooters here in the place where the actual guns are on the TIE Fighters. Because in the movies, the TIE Fighters shoot green lasers from red-tipped cannons. So basically, LEGO had to choose for accuracy for displaying the fighter or accuracy for playing with the fighter. And they chose to have it look better when you have it displayed, even if the shots aren't accurately colored. I mean, I think maybe they could have fixed that, like, just have these be just, like, studs, and then maybe hide the shooters somewhere in the wings or something? I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of having the red bolts, but there's really nothing LEGO could have done, so it's fine. The wings are nice. They have some nice detail to them. You get this one print here. This 2x2 round tile, that's a nice print, and of course you get one on the other side as well for consistency. And the wings can be folded up as well, so if you wanted to have a super deformed TIE Fighter, just a normal one, you could do that if you're a kid that, I guess, doesn't want to get the solo TIE Fighter, then you can just have this. However, you cannot fold the wings in any farther than what's supposed to be, because as you can see here, if I fold this out, you have this little bracket piece, and that acts as a sort of stopper for the joint. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that. It's nice to see a stopper there, so you know exactly how far to fold this in. Because with sort of click hinges and the bars and etc., it always annoys me when LEGO sets never provide like a specific area to fold it into, so I just kind of have to look off of the box to see how to have it done. And sometimes it's kind of hard to see what it's supposed to look like, so it's great to have an official stopping point there. But if you want to get Vader into the cockpit, you can, of course, fold down this nice printed canopy piece. That's a nice print. You can just fold that down. You also have the same piece on the top, but in light bluish gray with another great print. You can fold that up. And just for ease of operation, you can also just pull off this little subassembly here, just so that you can get in just a little bit easier. Inside the cockpit, there isn't much detail, no control panel or anything. You just have this battle droid body used for control yokes. Then you have a seat where there are no studs. Vader just sort of slips in with this friend's leg connector piece. But then, I like how I have grates in the back here. That's a nice touch. Adds a bit more detail. And yeah, you can just easily slip Vader in since he has the more modern fabric-y cape. It will not crease the cape to put him in there. Then you can just replace this piece. And as that piece falls off somehow, you can just put the control yoke in his hands and then fold this back up. And now Vader's in the cockpit. Now you can't really see him well. There's not much light in there. And since he's black, and since he's wearing a black suit, the little light that's in there basically does nothing. Like, you can see him a little if I have that opened up, but close it down and you can't see him in there. But that's fine, honestly, since there's really no way LEGO could have fixed that. It's fine, but I know what you're wondering. Where do you store Vader's laser sword as it falls onto the floor? Because, obviously, you don't want to just have it lying around. It could get lost. And I've lost a fair few laser swords by just lying them around. Because I've had the figures they belong to in vehicles without them. So, I guess the official thing to do is just drop it in the cockpit. But that looks lame and just not good in general. So I have an alternative. Basically, what you could do is you could just take this sort of hollow section, and you could try to get your saber in there, but it doesn't work too well, so you might be wondering why I showed you that. Basically, instead what you do to store your saber is you take these two 1x6 tiles, and you push up from underneath to remove the tiles as well as this subassembly. Then from the top, you put your saber in. You can go into that Technic hole and go quite far in. You could actually even make it fully connect there if you want it to. Then just replace these pieces. And whammo, your saber is safely stored, and when you want to remove it, you can just disconnect it and pull it out. It can be a bit difficult, but you can just pull it out from the bottom, although that's really only if it's not connected. Like, if it's connected in there, then you will have to get it from the top again, but you will just be able to pull it out from the bottom without disassembling it again if you just have it in there loosely. Give me a second, though. It does take a bit to get a hold of it first. And if you snap it apart, it's a lot easier. Like, if when you have it in there, you snap it into two parts, it's easier. But, yeah. So that's how you can store Vader's lightsaber. Just sort of a little bonus play feature. Not intended by LEGO, but it's a thing you can do. So, yeah. That is the Lego Star Wars Rebels, Vader's TIE Advanced versus A-Wing Starfighter set, fully reviewed. So, would I recommend this set for $90? Short answer, no! I mean, this set, like, I see $30 here. I mean, like, I really feel as though an A-Wing should only be $25, but when you consider how big it is, the detail, the play features, and just the piece count overall, I could stomach $30 for the A-Wing. Of course, the most recent original trilogy A-Wing was $40, but that's ridiculous. $30 is pushing it for the A-Wing. TIE Advanced, I mean, I could see $40. But, I mean, this set's $90. 30 plus 40 is $70, not $90. This set is 702 pieces. $70 is a good price per part ratio for 702 pieces. This set should have been $70. But, I mean, hey, it's $90 instead. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that every TIE Fighter Lego's made since The Force Awakens has been $20 overpriced. Every single one. Well, except for The Force Awakens, I mean, except for The Last Jedi TIE Silencer, that one was $30 overpriced. But yeah, so this set is not worth $90. If you see it for $80, still don't go for it. If you see it for $70, I mean, if you really like it, I'd go for it for $70. $60, yeah, really worth it, good deal. If you see it for $50 or less, go for it. Because for $50, this is an amazing deal. $60 is still pretty good. It depends on how much you like the set. But yeah, $50, it's a must-buy, but for $90, I'd recommend waiting. But hey, most brick-and-mortar stores are going out of business, so it probably won't be too hard to find this set for a discount. Yeah. So I guess I give this one overall, I give it a B-. It would be an A-, except the price really hurts it here, so yeah, B- for the price. Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see all of you in the next one. Bye-bye.